When a man returns after a period of no contact, there's often a deeper layer to his actions than what appears on the surface. It's not just that he's missed you or that he's reflecting on what he's lost, though. Those things are true. What really pulls him back is the realization that despite the time and distance, the connection you shared still holds meaning. Time has a way of revealing what's real, and the kind of bond that draws someone back is one that stands out as genuine, even in hindsight. Distance allows people to see things clearly, without the noise of daily interactions clouding their judgment. When he reflects on your time together, it's not just about the good memories. It's about the substance of what you brought to his life, the conversations that sparked his mind, the way you challenged him to be better, and the comfort of knowing someone truly had his back. Those things don't fade easily because they're not superficial, they're rooted in something real. And it's not just about him realizing what you offered, it's about how you carried yourself during no contact. You didn't chase, you didn't plead, and you didn't lower your standards to get his attention. That kind of self-respect speaks volumes. It sends a powerful message: I value myself enough to let you figure out what you truly want without me having to convince you. That level of confidence isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. What makes someone come back isn't just the absence they feel, it's the way you handle that absence. Your silence wasn't a void, it was a statement. It said, I am worth the effort. I am not here to beg for what I deserve. And whether he admits it or not, that energy is magnetic. It draws him back because it's rare to find someone who knows their worth and refuses to compromise it. As time passes, he begins to realize that connections like yours aren't easy to find. Maybe he's encountered others who don't challenge him in the same way, or who don't bring the same depth to his life. Or maybe he's tried to move on and found that the connections he forms don't carry the same spark, the same meaning. Whatever the case, it becomes clear that the bond he had with you is unique. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate someone into coming back. It's about the natural pull of authenticity. When you're genuine, when you give your all without losing yourself, and then step back to let someone recognize your value on their own, it creates a lasting impression. It's the kind of impression that time and distance can't erase. When he does return, it's not out of convenience. It's not because he's bored or lonely, it's because he's realized something deeper. He's seen that what you had wasn't just a fleeting connection, but something that left a mark on his life. And that's why he comes back, not to take advantage of you, but because he's finally ready to acknowledge the depth of what you shared. In the end, the choice is yours whether to accept him back. But know this: the reason he's returned is a testament to your strength, your value, and the way you carried yourself when the world told you to settle. That's your power, and it's undeniable. When a man comes back after a period of no contact, it's often because he's realized the undeniable truth: the connection he had with you was authentic and rare. There's a point where he begins to see through the noise of his life, through the distractions, and recognizes that what you offered wasn't just companionship, it was a depth of care, support, and understanding that doesn't come around every day. He's drawn back not because he's simply lonely, but because he's understood the value of what he lost. And like everyone can take time to process their emotions. Often they compartmentalize and move forward without fully acknowledging what's beneath the surface. But as time stretches on, those emotions resurface in unexpected ways. Maybe it's a memory triggered by a song, quiet moment of reflection, or even an encounter with someone who doesn't quite measure up to the standard you set. These realizations aren't immediate, but they build steadily until they become undeniable. When you chose no contact, it wasn't about punishment, it was about creating space for clarity. That silence gave him room to reflect, to think about what life feels like without you in it. And in that reflection, he started to see things he might have overlooked before. He saw the way you supported him without expecting anything in return. He remembered the little things: how you listened, how you were there in ways others weren't, and how you made his world feel more stable, even when everything else felt chaotic. This isn't just about missing you. It's about realizing the void your absence created. Life without you isn't just quieter, it's less vibrant. He begins to notice the lack of depth in his interactions with others, the surface level conversations that don't compare to the meaningful exchanges he had with you. And he starts to see that the connection you shared wasn't just a relationship, it was a partnership, a bond that made him feel truly seen and valued. What pulls him back is the authenticity of your connection. In a world full of superficial relationships, finding someone who genuinely cares, who invests in the relationship with their whole heart, is rare. And when he compares that to what he's experienced since your absence, it becomes clear that what you offered wasn't just different, it was exceptional. But there's another layer to this, the way you carried yourself during no contact. You didn't chase him or try to convince him of your worth. Instead, you let your silence speak for you. That silence wasn't empty, it was filled with self-respect and a quiet confidence that said, I know my value and I won't settle for anything less than what I deserve. That energy is powerful. It's magnetic. It doesn't just make him miss you, it makes him realize the strength you carry within yourself. When he thinks back, it's not just the memories of you that lingered, it's the way you made him feel. It's the sense of peace, of belonging, of being with someone who truly understood him. And those feelings don't fade, they stick with him, reminding him of what he walked away from. What makes this moment profound is that his return isn't just about you. It's about him coming to terms with his own growth, his own realizations. By stepping away, you gave him the chance to see things clearly, to grow in his understanding of what truly matters. And when he comes back, it's not just about wanting to be with you again, it's about acknowledging the depth and meaning of the bond you shared. In those quiet moments of no contact, your worth became undeniable. Not because you shouted from the rooftops, but because you lived it. Your actions, your silence, and your unwavering self-respect spoke louder than any words ever could. And now as he returns, it's not just out of longing, but out of recognition of the rare and beautiful connection that still holds a place in his heart. When a man returns after no contact, it's often because he has come face to face with the truth about your boundaries. See, boundaries are powerful. They're not just rules, they're declarations of self-respect. A way of saying, I love myself enough to demand what I deserve. When you set those boundaries, you might think he won't notice, but let me tell you, he notices. At first, he might not understand them. He might even push back, try to test them, or convince himself that they're unnecessary. But over time, as the silence stretches and he's left to sit with his thoughts, something shifts. He begins to see that those boundaries weren't walls to shut him out, they were gates, carefully placed to protect what is valuable, your peace, your worth, and your energy. Boundaries send a message, and it's not one you need to speak out loud. The message is clear: if you want access to me, it has to be on terms that honor who I am. That realization doesn't come immediately for some men, but when it does, it's profound. It makes him pause and reevaluate not just his actions, but the way he's been moving through life. No contact isn't just about absence, it's about the strength of holding firm to those boundaries. It's about showing him that you're not afraid to step back and prioritize yourself, even if it means walking away from something you once held dear. That kind of self-assurance is rare and it's unforgettable. What he realizes during no contact is that your boundaries weren't meant to reject him, they were meant to guide him. They showed him what it looks like to value yourself, to refuse to settle for anything less than you deserve. And that lesson sticks with him, whether he wants to admit it or not. In the silence, he starts to think about what it felt like to be in your presence. He remembers how you carried yourself with grace, how you didn't allow disrespect to slide, and how you stood firm in your worth, even when it wasn't convenient. Those moments of strength leave an impression. They show him what it looks like to have standards, and they challenge him to rise to meet them. The truth is, boundaries are a reflection of love, not just love for yourself, but love for the other person. They're a way of saying, I care about you enough to expect the best from you. And I care about myself enough not to settle for less. That kind of love isn't weak or conditional, it's strong, intentional, and transformative. When he comes back, it's because he's felt the impact of your boundaries. They forced him to reflect, to grow, and to confront parts of himself that he might have avoided.